AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Upper body injury for Saturday's playoff opener.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming on Wednesday, I'll tell you the one mistake each of the top 5 teams need to avoid in the NFL draft. It's unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Brandon Olsen from Locked On Gators in 15 minutes. We'll begin our SEC Spring recaps. We will, in hour number 3, get to our buddy Jason Swain from the Swain event up there in Knoxville, former Vol great. Got to talk about Tennessee and, of course, the Nico situation. So going to get to all of that with Swain coming up next hour. Earlier today, got to do a very cool thing. The Miracle Children's Foundation had an awesome event today at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital where they handed out iPads to children who are going through, children in the oncology ward, so going through cancer treatment, and then other children in the intensive care unit and others who are kind of living the hospital life right now. A year ago, they did this, and Jaden Daniels joined them to hand out iPads to the sick kiddos. Today, Will Campbell joined them. And I want to be very clear, like, this isn't an NIL thing. This is just last year, Jaden, this year, Will gave their time to this organization to go to the hospital and hand out iPads. Big shout out to our friends, Aaron and the gang over at Raising Cane's were there as well. They were handing out Cane's gift cards and like stuffed Cane dogs as well. Great community partners. It's such a cool thing. So my hat tip to Rick Newman, who runs the organization, his son Bryce Newman, who is in the conversation. It's me, Will, and Bryce, who you're about to hear. Bryce his story is incredible in and of itself, was a high-level baseball player, like a prospect, and developed brain cancer, and that certainly ended his playing career. And he's a walking miracle and a testament that he's here. But he's here and telling his story, and his family are giving back to young people that are going through something similar. And it's an awesome thing. So they asked me to be a small part of it, and I was thrilled to kind of go today and help. I didn't really help, to be honest. I mean, it was all Will. Nobody cared to see me. It was all Will. But I was thrilled to be there. And then I had a chance afterwards to sit down and have about a 10-minute conversation with Will and with Bryce. So that's what you're about to hear. We talked about the event today, benefiting the Miracle Children's Foundation. But also, we talked a good bit about Will's draft process, his 37-inch arms, and what's coming to Baton Rouge next year with the Tigers. Here's our chat with Will Campbell and with Bryce Newman.
It's good to see you. Busy time for you right now, huh? Yeah, no doubt. Everything's starting to come to an end. The process is winding down. I'm excited to be here doing this. It's pretty cool.
How long have you been? Because I'm sure you're jetting all over the country right now. So how long have you been back home? Baton Rouge?
I mean, I've been back since after the combine, but I've been going back and forth on these visits and stuff. I got back from somewhere out on the West Coast. Let's just say that like 2 days ago. So I've been back for 2 days. Yes, sir.
You're racking up freaking flyer miles.
No doubt. I've never been on a plane this much in my life.
We're here, obviously, at our Lake Shore Hospital today in conjunction with the Miracle Children's Foundation. How did you get connected with the organization?
Yeah, Mr. Rick, he just reached out. He thought I was my dad at first. He was like, am I speaking to Brian Campbell? And I was like, no, sir, this is Will. And, he just kind of told me about, what he wanted to do here and told me that my former teammate, Jaden Daniels, did it last year. So, it was something I was very interested in. And I'm just super excited to be here.
Yeah. You've done a lot of outreach like this during your
career? My cousin, who was like my little brother, that he passed away last year. They had a fire at our hunting camp and things like that. I won't get into all the details about it, but he was 16 and, we started a foundation. My family did. After that, we've been able to do stuff around the Northeast Louisiana area. I think over the past 2 weeks, they've given out 10 scholarships to college. So, it's been something I've been familiar with, being able to get back to the community. So I love doing it for sure.
Of course, here with Bryce as well, and you've got a pretty amazing story for you and for your family. Why is it important to do things like this?
Yeah, I've experienced. I've been in these kids on the hospital floor shoes, and I know what it's like to have an athlete, or in my case, an athlete or celebrity, someone of notoriety, come and visit them and just lift their spirit. Really get the motivation to get at it and be healthy.
It is important to note also that you don't typically dress like this. He's missing the head, but he's dressed up like the Easter Bunny today, doing his part to bring a lot of joy to the kids here. Anything specifically about today that stand out to you, a child that you met or any interaction you've had?
All of them. I think it's been really cool just to see all of them. They're all super excited. I think their eyes light up when they see that iPad, but then when they see me and the Easter Bunny. So it's just been really cool to get in here, meet some of the families and things like that. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, Bryce, why did you all decide iPads were going to be the gift that you all give away?
Well, I feel like everyone wants an Apple product, and it had to be an iPad. And I was fortunate enough to have an iPad when I was in the hospital, and I know how important it is to just keep connected with your community, whatever it is. So obviously texting and stuff like that, and then you have that entertainment factor, obviously watching movies or playing games or whatnot. And what I feel is most important is the education too. You can zoom into your FaceTime or whatever it is to your classroom and keep up with your smarts, your books, whatever that, and graduate with or do school with your class.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing that y'all are doing. You giving your time here today, especially with everything going on. Are you at the point a little more than a week away from the draft where you're just ready for the whole thing to be over?
Yeah, this is something that I've worked for my whole life. So I try to, not look too far ahead, or, I just try to stay in the present, stay where my feet are and things like that. But, it's the back end of the process. So everybody's tired. Everybody's ready, to be on a team and just be back to doing what we're doing, and that's playing football. So that's the biggest thing.
Normally, whenever we have a chance to talk at different media gatherings or whatever, you might be in uniform. I don't realize how long your arms are. It's crazy. I think these guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I think right now they look like 37 inches.
Is it I know you've been asked that. That's got to be. Actually, let me ask you this way. That's such a media-centered topic.
Yeah,
when you go meet with teams, do you actually talk about that?
No, not at all. It's been that's what you said. They all kind of ask me, what do I think about, the media saying, and I'm just kind of like, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You got to find something to critique.
Do you, we've become so accustomed to seeing you so dominant at left tackle. There's been talk about guard. Have you ever played guard in your life?
No, sir.
You've always been left tackle?
Yes, sir.
Would you be comfortable moving positions if it happened?
Yeah, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get on the field to, help my team win, bring back the Super Bowl, whatever I got to do to, help that case. But, most teams see me as a tackle. There's a certain few, 2 or 3, that, play me as guard. But, that's because they have Hall of Fame tackles. And they want me to play next to them. And then whenever, they retire, then I move out to tackle. So, it just really depends on the situation, regardless of where I'm playing. As long as I'm on the field, taking care of my job, winning games, that's all I care about at the end of the day.
We all saw like photos of you as a kid when you're LSU kid, right? Like your uniform and all that. Did you have a NFL team as a kid?
Yeah, I mean,
you said Dallas.
No.
You're trying to kill my spirit here.
No.
The Saints are already this low, and now you're going to say the Dallas Cowboys.
No, my dad used to take us. So every year he would take us to LSU game on Saturday. Then Sunday we would drive down to New Orleans to watch the Saints. But I mean, I'm not a guy that's going to cry if, they lose like some of y'all in South Louisiana. But
that's steep, bro. That is
but I do support them being a Louisiana boy. So, for sure.
What if you're still on the board at 9 and the Saints call your name, you get a chance to play professional ball in Louisiana? Have you given that thought what that would mean?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really special for me and my family. Like I said, the state has done so much for me and my family and everybody in my support system. So to be able to represent, not only the state, but my family and, that organization would just, it'd mean a lot to me.
Okay, I got a couple more. Give me a thought on the Tigers in 2025, the team that you're. I'm guessing. I know you've been out some of the practices out there. Give me a thought on what you've seen so far.
Yeah, I think they got a contagious energy about them. You can see it. Everybody's excited to be out there. I feel like they have a real close bond of a team. They got some key players in the portal. I feel like but the biggest thing is you have a quarterback in Garrett. So that's to win any football game at professional or college, you got to have a dude at quarterback. And you have it, so you're putting yourself ahead of the 8 ball there for sure. And then you throw in the other pieces that they put in the portal. It just adds on. And I'm excited for them. I have a close relationship with a lot of the guys on that team. So I'm just excited for this season to watch them do what I know they can do.
Give me a quick thought on Tyree if he ends up being the guy replacing your left tackle.
Yeah, Tyree's a great dude. Been there with me for 2 years. And he's a freak athlete. He's a really good athlete. And a good person. He's learned each and every day. I tried to teach him as much as I could while I was here at Emory. Same. Miles Frazier, the same. That we'd all try to invest in younger guys so that whenever we left, that they didn't skip a beat. And I feel like he's stepped up into a role where he's kind of an alpha in the room. And everybody, the younger guys are looking to guys like him and DJ Chester and Beauport, like guys that have been there and seen what it takes. So I'm super excited, not only for him, but everybody in the room.
And Bryce, I know you were a high level athlete as well before your diagnosis. What does it mean for you to have someone like Will? Obviously, like the iPads are really cool, right? But it's also someone like that giving his time to be part of this organization as well.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, motivation. It's I come from an athlete. You give it all, and watching high level athlete like Will come in there and tell you, just chat with you and talk with you. It's great. It really gives you the motivation to want to get out and want to be healthy.
Yeah. If someone's watching and listening, they want to participate in the foundation. How do they do that?
Yeah, visit us. Our website is www.miraclechildrens.org. Super simple, miraclechildrens.org. And on there, you can obviously find testimonies and videos, clips, and stuff, and pictures of all the work that we do.
Bryce and Will with 37-inch arms, by the way. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate you.
Really good sit down chat. I apologize, my mic was overmodulating. Don't know why that happened, but my bad. What was more important that you could hear Will Campbell talk and he was clear, so that's good. But appreciate those guys. MiracleChildrens.org if you want to learn more. MiracleChildrens.org, helping provide great resources like iPads to children fighting childhood cancer. So a really, really fun day today to be able to have the honor to go do that and see so many kids react the way they did to Will Campbell and the Easter Bunny. It's pretty cool. So, okay. It's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We're powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Of course, Will Campbell is a proud Sunshine athlete this year, partner with John Deere. When we come back, we'll begin our SEC spring recaps. Brandon Olsen will touch on the Gators. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, y'all, we are getting close to summertime. Cue Will Smith. Summertime. Just sit back and unwind. Oh, man. When I listen to that song, sitting by my pool, cocktail in hand, maybe grilling something up in the outdoor kitchen. There's no better way, man. No better way to spend a spring or summer day. Duplessis Builders can build it for you, man. Their new showroom is here in Gonzales in the corner of Airline and Duplessis Road, right by the new Rouse's. If you already have your pool, they do remodels. If it's dated or aging, maybe it's starting to leak, or you just want a different look, you can change the coping, the decking, the lighting, basically a brand new pool. Y'all, it's DuplessisBuilders.net. Check them out. Call Derek and the gang. Start that process today. DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. The SEC Spring Recap on After Further Review. The Florida Gators.
Brandon Olsen, Locked On Gators, does the honors. Brandon, how are you, man?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Going into last year, I don't know that there was a hotter seat in the SEC than Billy Napier, and a strong finish seemed to cool that seat. Give me a gauge here, Brandon, coming out of spring, what the temperature's like around that program with Billy Napier.
In my opinion, or the administration, because I think that we are very far apart on some things.
Let's do both. Let's do both.
I think with the administration, it's maybe a 4 or 5 out of 10 right now. That's how hot the seat is. With me, it's about a 7. I don't care about necessarily ending the season strong, because when I look at it, it's fantastic that you turn things around and end the season strong. But it took you 2.5 years to figure out, we should change how we practice, and that'll be more successful, and that'll give us more wins. And then you look at the start of the season and how awful that was. And I can't get past that. That's 2 years in a row now where the start of the season has been nothing short of embarrassing. And I just think that for finishing strong, that's great, but there's been no sense of consistency there. And I need to see that in order to believe in being able to be great again. Because for me, I look at this program and I say, the goal is national championship. And at a certain point, when you see a coach and you say he's not going to be the guy to get us a national championship, it just might be time to cut bait there.
The Gators went 7-5 and then won the bowl game against Tulane to finish 8-5. Big part of that down the stretch, of course, was DJ Lagway. Shoulder issue. How severe is that, Brandon?
It's not. It's greatly overplayed right now. I've firmly been in belief that he is throwing in practice once media leaves, because media only gets to see about 12 minutes of that practice. So I firmly believe that he is throwing in practice once media leaves and in private sessions. And I have it on very good authority that that's accurate.
Okay, so no injury issue for Lagway. He seems to be getting an awful lot of love. I feel like it's a small sample size. How bullish should we be on DJ Lagway going into his sophomore year?
I think pretty bullish. I think that he's shown a lot, and most of his issues at this point are simply you need more time and more experience and more development. But, I mean, arm talent, he can make any throw in the world. Physically, he can be a threat as a rusher. Confidence-wise, I mean, the way the team just rallies around him as a leader, and he seems like he's never rattled by anything. Even if he makes a bad decision, bad throw, he's never rattled by it. I think that's impressive for such a young quarterback, where you kind of just watch him and you say, okay, if you fix a little bit of the decision-making, we're talking about an elite college quarterback, and he's got all the physical tools to be the best of the best.
Brandon Olsen's with us, Locked On Gators. So Lagway's there. Coming out of spring, who are the primary weapons that seem to be emerging?
I mean, Dallas Wilson had nearly 200 yards in the spring game. He's been just sensational since getting on campus as a true freshman. J. Michael Sturdivant coming over from UCLA. I have high expectations for him. I think he's got the height, weight, speed. I think that the only thing that held him back at UCLA was the poor quarterback play. I mean, look, they played in the Big Ten, not exactly an explosive offensive conference, and they were the worst of the bunch. And I think that that's very telling of how poor their quarterback play and Eric Bieniemy's 1-year stint as OC. Eugene Wilson, Trey Wilson, high expectations for him. He's going to be moving around more than usual, and I don't just mean running that little motion that he runs every single play. I mean, he's actually going to get to play wide receiver in 2025. and I'm very much looking forward to that. And Aiden Mizell, 6'3", top 3 in speed on the team. Track star out there. He's going to be on the other side, outside, opposite J. Michael Sturdivant. And I just think that it's really tough to try to defend the amount of speed that this team has. It's just about actually getting them together and finding a rhythm.
What you mentioned Sturdivant. Any other notable mid-year transfers that went through spring that everyone's expecting to play a big role for the Gators in 25?
Outside of maybe Kofi Asari, the edge rusher from UMass, he's looked at in the building as one of those hidden gem players that last year UMass played, I think it was 4 SEC games. And I think that there's enough of a sample size to say that, hey, he played well in those games. So there's reason to believe that he'll be able to translate over there. He's playing Jack for Florida this year, so I'm very interested to see how that goes because there's a lot of snaps open on the edge right now for Florida. You lost including Jack Clyburn, who went to LSU, you lost about 500 snaps off the edge from last year. So I think that Kofi Asari is expected to take a good chunk of those and be a legit contributor on passing downs, especially.
A couple more for you, Brandon. Brandon Olsen's our guest, Locked On Gators. If you want the Gators news, you can get it there. Coming out of spring, it's a big question that you had going in that you feel like got answered.
For me, part of it was the defensive line depth. Florida going into spring had a few injuries on the line. You had Caleb Banks, who LSU fans are familiar with him. And Caleb Banks, who was dealing with an injury and missed a little bit. Missed most of spring with a foot injury, but was able to participate toward the end. Didn't play in the spring game simply because he didn't have to at that point. Jamari Lyons, who missed all of last season, he fractured his ankle, I believe it was, 2 days before they started the season last year, and he missed all camp. So defensive line depth was a big concern for me, but from what we've been told and from what we've heard and what we saw in the spring game, the young guys on the defensive line are really stepping up. Stephon Shivers, true nose tackle, is about 400 pounds on the interior there. He's going to play a role with Makai Boyro as well. There's a lot of youth on that defensive line, and the way the Florida's recruited is just, hey, let's get big athletes and let them play. And I do think that Gerald Chapman, defensive line coach, is one of the best in the country, and he's getting these young guys right early.
Chapman was the guy that was an interim defensive line coach at LSU after Jamar Cain left for the Denver Broncos. Didn't get the job, went to Tulane, is now at Florida. Okay, last one. Biggest question that remains for Billy Napier's squad going into fall camp?
I think it centers around offensive play calling, to be honest. I think that this is a really good roster. I'm very bullish on this roster, and if you know me, if you're familiar with me, I'm not typically very bullish on these teams, but I'm very bullish on this roster. I think it's a college football playoff roster, but it's about time in year 4 that coaching catches up to the talent that they've got here. And for me, Billy Napier as a play caller just hasn't gotten it done. I am still hopeful that he hands over play calling to Russ Callaway, who we promoted to offensive coordinator this year. And I think we'll see that. Again, I'm trying to speak it into existence partially, but I also do believe that it's a legit possibility. But for me, it's all about the coaching at this point. This is a very good roster.
Gator win total projected at 6.5 over under, Brandon.
I hammered it the day it came out.
Okay. All right, my guy's bullish on it. I tell you, you know what? Put your money where your mouth is. That's what I like to hear. Long way to go for the opener, but the Gators wrap up spring there under Billy Napier heading into year 4. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Got it, man. That's Brandon Olsen from Locked On Gators. Get him on Twitter, X at WNS_Brandon if you want to give him a follow. It is After Further Review, brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Remember, we are giving away $10,000 cash money. All you got to do. Love that. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. You'll see the big pop-up right there on the home screen. Super easy. You can hit the little see complete giveaway details right there to get all the deets on how you can enter, but it's pretty simple. Just sign up for free, no obligation roofing inspection. A week from Friday, we're announcing the winner on AFR. So you want to win 10 grand cash? It's easy. Just go to parishbuilt.com or give us a call at 364-1007, 364-1007. To enter, all you got to do is sign up for free, no obligation roofing inspection. You're entered to win. We'll have the drawing at 5 o'clock on Friday, April the 25th here on AFR. Remember, roof repairs, replacements. We have our own gutter crew we fabricate our own metal for the gutters. And we have a soft wash crew as well. Maybe your roof doesn't need to be repaired or replaced. Maybe you just need a soft wash. Get a lot of that algae, the mildew off the roof, which can eat away at the shingles. It'll beautify and extend the life of your roof. We can do all of it. ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. That's ParishBuilt.com. All right, y'all, about halfway home. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Tigers were back on the practice field here on Tuesday. Brian Kelly met with reporters afterwards. Let's hear some of what BK had to say in 30 minutes, right after the top of the hour. When we come back, an all-pro defensive back is apparently on the trade block, and he's being linked to the New Orleans Saints. We'll tell you who and why next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Take that, Greenberg. Hughes loves it. We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001. Y'all, if you haven't done this yet, I'm going to give you the number again in just a second. I want you to call this number right now. I want you to call River City's 1 Hour Air. Get your preseason AC tune-up. Okay, this is so important. This is standard maintenance for your unit. That thing sits outside next to your house 24/7, 365, year after year, never gets a break. You want to make sure that thing lasts. You want to make sure it runs efficiently so it saves you money on your cooling bills and also will extend the life of the unit. Make sure you do this standard maintenance. Like, you wouldn't drive your car without ever changing the oil. You shouldn't go through a summer season before having your AC unit tuned up. Call them right now, 752-0001.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'm a farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Glad you're rolling along with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. We always appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. You can always get more info at sunequip.com. That's sunequip.com for Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Well, this is interesting. Apparently, the Miami Dolphins are trying to trade cornerback Jalen Ramsey. This is something that their general manager, Chris Greer, said during a news conference on Tuesday. So this isn't an uncited, anonymously sourced report. The general manager of the Miami Dolphins said they would like to trade Jalen Ramsey. The quote is, after a couple of weeks of discussions between ourselves internally, Jalen and his representation, we decided it was probably in the best interest for all parties to move forward. I will say these decisions aren't done quickly. They're not taken lightly because we spent a lot of time this offseason working through this, talking through things. At the end of the day, Jalen did not ask for a trade. So he's very clear they went through the process. But Jalen Ramsey is at a point in his career now where he's nearer certainly the end of his career than the beginning. He's 30 years old. He'll be 31 in October. And this is a massively accomplished player in Jalen Ramsey, who is a former Pro Bowler and All-Pro player. I mean, I could read the bio for you, but many of you are familiar just knowing that he's been really good. He won the Super Bowl with the Rams. He's a 3-time first-team All-Pro, but the last time was in 2021. He is a 7-time Pro Bowler. He won the BCS National Championship when he was at Florida State, the Jameis Winston team. He's a former consensus All-American. And this guy was the 5th overall pick of the draft back in 2016. So you were talking about a dude with accolades galore. But the challenging thing about Ramsey is that he's at a point in his career now where you wonder, what's the investment? What is it worth with the investment? So he went from Jacksonville to the Rams, then in 2023 to Miami, where he spent the last 2 seasons, and now Miami's looking for a trade. The Ross Jackson has a piece up at LouisianaSports.net where he talks about what the cost might be for Jalen Ramsey. And what's notable about it is that Ramsey's salary, the Saints, if they hypothetically did a trade for Jalen Ramsey, they would take on about $21 million in new salary. Well, the Saints have $28 million currently in cap space. So they could make it work. And with the contract, you could structure it, you could restructure it like they always do. So you could lower the cap number this year and move money or add years onto the back of the deal, however it may be. The question you have to ask is that something you want to do, adding a 30-year-old, soon-to-be 31-year-old player, expensive player, to your roster? And I think the real answer is, do you think you're close to winning? And this is the question that we go round and round and round with the New Orleans Saints. Are you a team that feels like you are even remotely close to competing? Now, I don't believe they are. Before we even knew about the Derek Carr injury, Vegas has the Saints win total over under at 5.5. Clearly, the opinion of this team in 2025 is dramatically different on Airline Drive than it is everywhere else in the football-loving world. They think they're contenders, hence why they went and spent money on Justin Reed and spent money to re-sign Juwan Johnson and Chase Young. It's why they went out and added Dylan Radins. I mean, they went out and spent money in free agency thinking they're contenders, adding Brandon Cooks. So if the New Orleans Saints feel like they are contenders, cornerback is one position of desperate need. Like, that is an objective truth. The two guys that were your starting corners week 1 a year ago are no longer on your roster. Paulson Adebo is in New York with the Giants, and you traded Marshawn Lattimore to Washington. So you look at it now, and you drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry, who very likely will be a starter this year, and you've got Alontae Taylor, who, as we noted prior, was one of your lowest graded defenders by Pro Football Focus last year. He was actually very bad as a boundary cornerback because that's not Alontae Taylor's spot. He's a nickel or he's a safety. And I think he could be a great one. He's just not a boundary corner in the NFL. So if you felt like you were knocking on the door of a championship, and boy, you needed to address boundary corner, and you could add Jalen Ramsey, albeit on an expensive deal, a 1-year deal, it would make a lot of sense because you were all in to win now. This, though, is the antithesis of what I think the Saints should be doing. But judging by their actions, they have not mapped one iota to what I think they should be doing. And you could say, yeah, well, you're an idiot, bald-headed, bearded dork who looks like a thumb just yelling on the radio. And you're right. I'm all of those things. But I also picked the Saints to win 5 games last year, and I was right. And I've also been the guy sitting here yelling for 2 years now that it is time to hit the reset button on this organization. And I think most, if not all of you, have come around to that line of thinking, realizing they're not close to winning. So would I love to have Jalen Ramsey on the New Orleans Saints? Yes, because I think at this very moment, 30-year-old Jalen Ramsey is a better cornerback than Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alontae Taylor. He is an upgrade over either of the guys you have. I think that is an objective fact. However, I can't justify giving an asset to Miami to trade for Jalen Ramsey, to have a 30-year-old cornerback for 1 year on a bad team that's giving away a future asset that allowed you to get younger and more affordable to be on a team that's not going to win anything. That's the problem. I keep saying they need to get younger and less expensive. Jalen Ramsey gets you older and more expensive. It's the opposite of what you should be doing right now if you're the New Orleans Saints, which means this is precisely what they're going to do. Now, it is worth noting that Jalen Ramsey and Saints defensive coordinator Brandon Staley have a great relationship. That's why this has come front and center. When the NFL put out the tweet back on February 21st that the Saints had hired Brandon Staley as the defensive coordinator, Jalen Ramsey from his official Twitter account went quote tweeted the NFL and put "my guy" with an exclamation point. Brandon Staley they were together in Los Angeles. Staley, in some quotes, has credited Jalen Ramsey with him becoming a head coach because he's like, That's because that guy was so awesome. It's why I was able to become a head coach with the Chargers. So those two have a very, very good relationship and have for a long time, which is why a lot of people have tied them together. Back in 2022, Jalen Ramsey did an interview where he talked about Brandon Staley, comparing him to Charles Woodson.
Me and Coach Staley, we still talk every week dang near. So he knows me pretty well. Obviously, he's gotten to know Derwin pretty well. Me and Derwin know each other extremely well. So, like Coach Staley, that's my favorite player. That's been my favorite player. So just we used to always watch film on Charles when he was here. I still do. And then I was asked to do certain things while he was here. That maybe he got those comparisons from a little bit. It's kind of the same with Derwin, like in the safety role of it. But yeah.
I mean, he's sitting there talking about Brandon Staley and how they. I mean, that was back in 2022 when Staley was with the Chargers, saying like, he's my favorite coach. Woodson was my favorite player. I still talk to Staley every day, he said, or every week. I mean, those two have a really good relationship. So internally, I bet Brandon Staley is banging the drum in New Orleans to try to bring in Jalen Ramsey. But I think sometimes, y'all, it's like, man, dude, it's like a diet, man. Like, yes, it's fun to eat ice cream every day if that's what you want to do, if you love ice cream. But sometimes you got to realize, while that's fun and delicious, that's probably not the best thing in the world to do. You should probably mix in a vegetable and drink a glass of water. That's what this feels like. The Saints are out there like with a half gallon of Blue Bell with the spoon going straight into it every day. Like, sure, that tastes great, but that's not the best path forward, man. That's actually a very unhealthy path forward. Restructuring Derek Carr, restructuring your aging veterans, signing someone like Jalen Ramsey at 30 years old that's going to count more than $20 million against your cap this year, which would probably force you to kick more money into future years, and you have to give up an asset to do it. Like, the discipline's the hard thing to do. To say, you know what? I'm going to drive past the ice cream store, and I'm instead going to go to the gym because that's better for me. One's really fun. One is not. One nets good results. One nets bad results. What decision are you going to make? It doesn't even have to be that. It could be homework or whatever the thing is in life that you want to compare it to. The thing where you have to sometimes make adult disciplined decisions. And that's something the Saints routinely refuse to do. And it's why they're in the spot they're in. So, yes, I would love Jalen Ramsey. No, I do not want to give up an asset and pay over $20 million for a 30-year-old cornerback who is a rent player, not a buy player. He's a short-term rent player on a team that's going nowhere and doesn't even have a quarterback. So when you've got debt, you don't go to the store and buy a $400 jacket because you think it looks sweet. You eat ramen noodles, get a second job, and pay off your debt. Like, that's where the Saints need to be in life, but they just keep applying for new credit cards. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. ParishRestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Speaking of going to the gym, you ever go to the gym and it just stinks? You know what you need to do? Because all the sweat and everything? Or you're just worried about people coughing and sweating all over the free weights, the dumbbells, the benches. Like, what type of pathogens are floating all over that place that don't get cleaned? I got an idea. Tell the owner of that place, if you're the owner of that place, call Parish Restoration. They'll come in, they'll spread their patented non-toxic dry fog. It'll kill all those harmful pathogens, including the bacteria that causes odor. It'll smell beautiful and clean. It's Parish Restoration. From commercial, huge, large commercial buildings to residential buildings, everything in between, even your vehicle. You want to kill mold, remove odor? Parish Restoration can help. Go to parishrestoration.com. That's parishrestoration.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on this Tuesday edition, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Football Tigers are back on the practice field. Brian Kelly met with reporters after. We'll get to that in about 13 minutes from right now when we come back. Musso will wrap up the hour with Tigers and the pros. Stick around here on AFR.
After Further Review.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Y'all, they are bursting with blooms over at Clegg's Nursery. Which Clegg's? Every Clegg's. There's 4 of them. Seaganeer Airline, LA16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Y'all, the Peggy Martin roses have arrived. They have so many different types of rose bushes. Get on by Clegg's. And you want to talk about blooms that will continue to pop and burst with color all throughout the spring and summer. You'll get on by and check them out at Clegg's. Just plant something. Don't know what to plant? No worries. They do. Take a picture of your front yard or your backyard and say, and they'll look at things like, how much shade do you have? How much work do you want to put into maintaining your place? Some need a lot of TLC, some need very little. What's your temperature for it? They can help you. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We ride back and forth till we run out of life. Take it to the
Hey, remember 0% for 48 months right now on compact construction equipment. Great for construction and landscaping businesses. 0% for 48 months. Get you a Deere, y'all. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Crank that up, yo! Let's go!
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Never heard this song, but I like it. It's Garth Brooks, isn't it?
It's not, no, but I'm glad you like the song.
It's Clint Black, isn't it?
It's Kenny Chesney.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, you've heard of him.
It's Steve Winwood.
No.
It's Brooks and Dunn.
No, it's one person. Why would it be Brooks and Dunn?
I thought his name was Brookson.
No.
Brooks and Dunn. I thought was his name. Brookson.
No.
Brooks and Dunn? I thought his name was Brookson.
Brooks and Dunn.
No.
Yeah.
Then why don't they say Brooks and Dunn?
They
say
do?
No, they don't. They say Brooks and Dunn.
It just flows that way.
Makes it sound like it's one person's name. Brookson. Brooks and Dunn. Brooks and Dunn. Clay Walker.
No.
I'm just naming country people whose names I know. I don't know any country music at all.
You're just not going to go into another one? I was waiting.
I don't know
for
anybody.
Yeah.
Shania Twain.
It's
Does
definitely not Shania Twain.
Does that count?
That counts, yeah.
I mean, I feel like she went super pop.
Yeah, but country pop.
I mean, that don't
counts.
impress me much. That ain't country pop, dog. Like by the end, Shania, and I love Shania, bro. I had a Shania Twain poster on my dorm room in Holy Cross when she had like the leopard top and the leather pants. Yeah, I had that poster.
Went and saw her a few years ago, actually, in concert.
Yeah, I remember when she was in NOLA.
Yep, she was great.
Right, Musso, after he follows up that little ditty there by Alan Jackson.
No.
Tigers in the pros.
Do love Alan Jackson, though.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Big and rich.
No, but they're great, too.
No, they're
Save
just the
a
ones
horse,
who
ride a
did
cowboy.
the Coming to Your City song.
That's
See, how about
definitely
that?
one of the songs, yeah.
Got him.
Patrick Peterson has retired.
Big country guy.
There
See
you
that?
go.
I just got it.
Pat Pete returned to Arizona Monday
man.
evening to announce the decision. Announced it at the Cardinals facility. He called it a, quote, no-brainer to make the announcement with the team that took him 5th overall back in 2011. He spent 10 seasons overall in Arizona. Of course, each of his first 8 seasons made Pro Bowl there. Also some first-team All-Pros 3 times. Finished up with Minnesota and then Pittsburgh. Did not play in any games a season ago. Said of his decision, quote, I can still play but I do not want to play. This
What
is
did
a
Pat
young
Pete tell us at the Super Bowl?
This is a young man's game now, end quote. I don't remember.
Well, he sat with us. It was me, Pat Pete, and didn't T-Bob sit on that interview
T-Bob
too?
did, yeah.
And the three of us sat there, and I think we talked to Pat Pete about how I don't think he said he was ready to retire. He wanted to play again.
He has now. Says for his future, hopes to move into media or work on helping the Cardinals win a title because, quote, still missing my ring. Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens squared off a night ago. Paul Skeens got the better of him. 0 for 4, 0 for 2 against Skeens. Skeens threw 6 with a 1 earned run. Got the win. Really solid day there. Trey Morgan's making his debut today in Durham. Elevated off of IL. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Y'all, Mother's Day is right around the bend. We're less than a month away from Mother's Day. Guys, don't screw it up. Thrill mom or thrill your wife, who's the mother of your children, with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 9 locations in all and online at LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, hour 3 coming up right after SportsCenter.
After further review.
If you're thinking of buying land where you can ride that sexy tractor, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. You know, a lot of people, more and more, especially people live in New Orleans who want to work in the city but live the rural lifestyle. I'm seeing this a lot. Every time I talk to Ben and the gang, Tim, the gang over at First South Farm Credit, so many people who live in New Orleans, and they buy land on the North Shore, and then they commute. And you come across the causeway. If that sounds good to you, First South Farm Credit has a branch in Tangipahoa Parish. So they can help you right there. Buy land to build your family's dream home, enjoy that rural lifestyle while still working in the city. So many great options. Listen, you want that hunting property in Mississippi or Texas, you want 1,000 acres for farmland, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.